Hello, Kalu Kalay. We've got an instantaneous Manly. So hello, Manly. Welcome back to the land of the living. Stretch redeems in a row. Hello. Things have changed. First things first, I would like to thank Regulataris, Regilkentaris, Reggie. I would like to thank Reggie for following. I'd also like to... Dude, what the fuck? Yo 1 Zaz 2 Mom 3. Yazi Yo 1 Zoz 2 Mom 3. Is this a fucking MT Foxtrot activation code? If I read it 3 times backward, am I gonna want to kill JFK again? I have to kill John Lennon? Hello, stretch. Okay, good stretch. So, see, it's harder to stretch now. Ow, fuck. Ow, Jesus. Okay. So. Oh, okay. So, I did some work. Gonna be honest. Gonna be perfectly frank with you all. I did a little work. We are at currently 55 pages of game. So, let's start from the top a little bit. I wrote lore. I wrote a lot of lore. I wrote a lot of lore about all the people of Callis. You kind of see the little bards there. You see the Ura. You see everyone who lives here. Alright, easy enough to do. Fixed up some things here. We changed around learning a little bit. It's no longer sailing, it's literature. The clansman's skill at reading, writing, and fixing documents. Doesn't seem very important, but again, as someone pointed out, you can use this for a lot of different things. So I'm like, okay, cool. Some little bits and pieces there. Kind of cleaned up all of this to make things pretty easy. Then I did all the family backgrounds, just double checked all the family backgrounds, make them as easy as physically possible to understand. Kind of talked a little bit about mixed heritage backgrounds. The idea of, hey, you are from a mixed heritage. You are an Anesian daemon. If you are an Anesian daemon, you choose one of them. That's who you are. I am an Anesian man. I was born and raised in Anesia. My mother is a daemon, though. I have a little bit of that Dine blood in me. However, if you say, hey, I was raised among the daemon, but I'm half Anesian, that's going to be a little bit different. That's kind of the idea. You kind of choose which one you want to grow up in. Childhood, though. So, fix up a lot of the childhood things. Everything is here. Between the rural, urban, and any. As you can see, I added a few. One I added for up here was listen to bards. And I also added raised as a courtier. I thought that was very appropriate. Then what I did was the breath of life section. So, when you end, you are 16 years old. Generally speaking, when you complete your life path, you are 16. What you can do, though, is you can start playing immediately. All you have to do is you get 5 additional attribute points and 50 skill points. You can put these wherever you want. That's just what you get. So it's like, hey, congratulations, you were 16. You've kind of graduated. You get a little bit more of your core attributes. You're done. However, you can also spend more time going on a career, on different careers. You can say, hey, I want to go on a new career. I want to spend 5-year intervals of going on a new career here. I want to do some personal development here. I want to go on Legion duty. I want to do some cultural study stuff. Or I want to do or I want to be on a trading convoy. As you can kind of see here, this is our sample character. This is our Adiarch Friduene, who listened to bards. This is what he chose to be. He's very intelligent. He's not really good at speaking with others, but that's not really his thing. But as you kind of see, hey, this is him 5 years down the line. He chose just to a new career. He chose to become a scribe. He dumped a lot of points into literature. He put a little bit into lore. It's kind of the idea there, and then he showed to cultural study into personal development. This is a man who has gone pretty much over 15 years of his life being a man of the Anesians. He is an Anesian courtman. That is how he views himself. That's how he sees the world. We've created a character nice and easily. Though this technically wouldn't be super correct, but we'll get to that later. But then I started working on forming the clan. Now, the clan is built of 5 different attributes: authority, culture, power, production, and reputation. The idea is your authority is your ability to exert influence. Culture is your footprint on the nation, otherwise known as your cultural group. Power is your ability to wage war. Production is your ability to extract resources. And reputation is how people view you. So, in kind of more broader sense, this is your I'm going to declare war on you. This would be like your clan's charisma stat. This is kind of your clan's doing things stat. This is your clan's kind of more health stat. You lose all your holdings, obviously. People aren't going to like you as much. A culture would be kind of more of like your learning stat. It's kind of the very simple way of doing it, kind of trying to tie it to different areas, but I talk a little bit about domains and holdings down here, and just like, hey, where are you going to be establishing yourself? You're going to choose to begin at a village, a shrine, or a fort. Easy enough to understand. However, I wrote up the Eastern Coast section. And what it's going to be is what's kind of here, what's kind of like what's the going on, what's the situation here, and then what do you want to do when you live here. So as you see, what I did was I broke up everything into its domains and labeled them all, and every single one of these domains is going to have a associated mark effectively. So hey, if you want to say, hey, 4 looks interesting here, what you're going to do is you're going to go down to number 4 down here. Yeah, if you're looking at this being like, Notepad, what the fuck are you doing? This is what I'm doing. Nice picture, a little bit of a mutt. Hey, Notepad, why does everyone like the incest simulator, murder incest simulator? Why does everyone like CK3 and things like that? Because it's kind of the only game that does it. It is very much the only game that allows you to murder people, have sex with your sister very frequently, and do all these terrible, terrible things. We love degeneracy. That's just the nature of the beast. Now, here's the thing. This is where things are going to get very interesting, because if you zoom in here, you kind of see in 15, there are technically 3 holdings here. 19, there are 4 holdings. 8, there are 4 holdings. Every single one of these is going to need a separate write-up for the number of holdings in it. And what I should do is put number 20 there, and because I forgot to label that one. Should label that one, but I'm not going to right away. I could probably put it under 9 and no one would care. I might just put it under 9 and no one's going to care. But yeah, what I need to do is effectively, so if like I choose like province number 1, you know, if we do, yeah, we'll call it North, Gaelic name generator. Give me a good Gaelic name. We'll do Donovan we'll call it North Spalian. North Spalian 1. What holding types are there? So we go to 1. There is if we look on the very far left there, we see a shrine. We're going to have there's going to be a monastery. If I can fucking spell things correctly. Probably have to reduce this down. I'll probably keep it very small to keep everything there. Holding, so what should we call it? We'll call it Deov. We'll call it Dova. We're going to have to determine its wealth, its glory, its manpower, and fortification. So let's say it's a rank 2 holding. So let's say it's going to generate 2 wealth. It's going to generate 4 glory. It's going to roughly generate about 100, we'll say 250 manpower. Well, actually, we'll say it's about 100 manpower as a fortification of 10. Then we're going to go to our second holding. See that? There's a village there. I'm going to put in village. It's going to be wealth 2. Glory, it's going to be glory 0. Manpower is going to contribute about 100 there. Fortification is going to be 0. There's no fortification in a dogshit city like that. Let's just hit this. We'll call it Fowlin. Fowlin. It's a village. It generates 2 wealth. Depending on whatever it is, you might generate more. But generally speaking, every single entry in here is going to need to get a name. It's going to need to get a type and assign effectively how I want to do the math here a little bit. This is going to get a little bit hectic. If I want to do this correctly, I can probably open up a math thing here. But this is what I want to do a little bit more today, because today is going to be one of those days. We'll do is I kind of want to get into an idea of how things are supposed to look. You're making build. How are you making build? Yeah. To give you an idea, we're not doing that today. I'm probably not going to do it right now, because to give you an idea, there's a lot of them. I haven't really written up some of these simply because there are so many. For example, the Anesian coast. There are 26 separate domains. Some of them with 4 or 5 separate holdings between them. Every single one of these is going to need a write-up. Some of them are even going to be special ones, which need a dedicated person. Do you understand why I don't want to do this right away? Yeah, we're not going to worry about this right now. Yes, there are 26 separate domains in just this one area. Let's see. Thing is, you don't gotta do today. So how so how are buildings going to work? So effectively, how buildings are going to work. So if we go all the way back up to North Spalen, effectively, if you control, let's say you control the city, you control the village of Fowlin. Pretty much every season, you're going to get 2 wealth, 0 glory, and you can leverage up to 100 manpower. That's it. Very passive stuff. However, you're going to be able to improve all of these things. Build all the improvements you build the improvements to a place, it's going to level up into a town. You'll build all the improvements there, you're going to build it up more. It's going to take a lot of time. And I mean, an improvement isn't really going to be, oh, this is going to take a season. No, it's going to take you 4 years. That's 4 years of building up something. Hence where a lot of the legacy mechanics come in. Very expensive to maintain these things. And what do you want to use glory for? It's kind of a resource that you spend on other things. It's very passive. But one of the big things is that you're always seeking to expand. We're always seeking to expand your influence. We are in the village of Fowlin. We want to somehow take over the monastery of Dova. How are we going to do that? Well, we have a similar amount of manpower as them, so we can declare war on them, and we have to beat them in the field. But maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe we want to do something different. Maybe we want to build up our own thing and go on our own adventures, or maybe we want to go to do a little bit. We can just sail across the sea slightly, and suddenly we have not only another village, but we have a shrine and we have a town there that we can do stuff in. You take control of an entire province, everything is going to get a bonus there. That's kind of the big thing. Start delegating down lower. Is there a dice roll for the amount of manpower per rank, or is that a set value? That's going to be a set value, because how I'm going to do, what I might have to do is something around the line of like, hey, you don't get as much as what you might need in certain locations, because the idea behind military buildings are you get a shit ton more manpower out of them. Because how I'm going to do military stuff, if that makes sense, is you're going to take a number of manpower you have, and you're just going to split that up between units you have access to. You want to make a cool-ass axe unit, you're going to have to pay in manpower to build that axe unit. It's going to cost you some money. It's going to cost you some resources, and you're going to fill out the manpower there. But if you get all your men killed, they don't have any more manpower. You have to wait till the beginning of the next season to get that manpower back. So it's kind of like, oh shit, I have to wait till next year to get my manpower back. Where it's like, like we declared a war, we lost a dozen men. That's a dozen men you no longer have. Hence why if you start expanding out a lot more, if you have a lot more holdings, a lot more things, a lot more people to leverage, suddenly you have 1,000 men. But you can start divvying up those things a little bit more consistently. We want horses. We want axemen. We want heavy infantry. Versus we want 1,000 militiamen. The militiamen are going to get mulched. They're all going to die violently. But if you have a lot of them, maybe that is what your strategy is. Who knows? Kind of that's what I'm thinking of, that it's a raw resource, because I want to keep this fairly simple, if that makes sense. What I'm debating on doing is that everything is going to be fairly consistent. So like every monastery is going to look like this. But, for example, we see the shrine up there. If we want to do like a shrine, the wealth is going to be 0. It's going to generate 2. It's not going to have any manpower or fortification. It's going to be the monastery of Moina. It's going to be the Moina shrine. The Moina shrine. If we invest in the Moina shrine, and we increase its manpower up, we increase its glory up, we increase its wealth up, and its fortification up, suddenly, it's now going to be the Moina Monastery. It's going to be a higher tier building we can invest in now. A higher tier location. People, there are more things. Everything is going to be fairly consistent. But that's a lot of time, effort, and resources. And why do I want to improve the Moina Shrine when I can instead improve Dova? Because Dova's that's going to be more efficient for me. That's kind of the idea. This sounds like a lot of repetition, but sure is a lot of work. Yeah. Idea in the guard, quantity is, yeah. That's the idea of the guard. Quantity is a quality all of its own. Yeah, pretty much. It's going to be a lot of repetitious work, but it's going to be, you're going to get locations like up here even. Like, there's going to be, like, Dova by itself might have some... Oh, let me get that. Dova by itself might have something there that you now have to interact with. That's another situation. But you see down here in, like, 17. 17 has a city. That city is going to have a very specific person in charge. There's already going to be a great clan there. They are going to play a pivotal role in the entire foundation of a campaign set on the Great Lake. Because the idea is, if you set yourself up here, this really is where your campaign is going to be. You are in this area now, you are going to deal with it, if that makes sense. You are going to now have to worry about situations before you. Hey, we are in the village on, we'll say 14 here. We're 14. We've taken over the village. There's a not a fort. It would be a castle. What the fuck is it called? A keep. there's a keep here. There is someone who owns that keep, and it is very valuable because there's a lot of manpower suddenly in the area. What do you want to do with them? Start plotting against them? Do you want to start working with them? You maybe forge an alliance. End up working with them a lot more closely. Is it maybe a situation that the GM is putting down that you now have to deal with? Hey, your uncle owns this place, owns this fortress effectively that is falling to fucking ruin. It is a terrible place. Nobody likes living there, and that's the campaign. He's a day's ride away. However, you've got problems there. And other people are now kind of looking in to take over, and it's like, what do we do? How do we do it? There we go. You have a campaign, and that can expand out. Deal with the more into the south? Do you want to deal with more of the Great Lake? Do you want to deal with more of the Daemon issues? Do you want to deal with more problems there? Every single location should really only need to interact with the surrounding area. The people on the coast here, the eastern coast, don't really need to worry about the people in the Northlands. Unless they're like right up, unless they're kind of like this deep northern territory, they might need to, but they really don't mandatory. But this is going to be an area unto itself. This is going to be an area unto itself. That's kind of the idea. Is there going to be a means of converting a construction into another kind of building, or is it too autistic? That's going to be way too autistic. Everything's going to be fairly linear. The goal is twofold. Is A, you're going to be invested in the story currently undergoing in your little patch of paradise. We are a village right in the heart there. We are 2 days ride from the Kirk. From the Kirk, we are living our lives here. What goes on in this little patch of heaven? We're working with the other village a lot. Maybe there's some internal struggles there by just someone across the river. Maybe there's a lot more territorial disputes. There isn't. Maybe we should go south down the river a little bit to move into some territory there, eschewing threats elsewhere. Things like that. Even down to being like, hey, you live in Abba territory, you live in the deep heart of 15, where you want to go anywhere, you want to visit the second one in the area, get ready to hike for like a week. Because the big idea is every tile is a day's travel unless there is a road. There's a road, you can travel 1 day is 2 tiles. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up. Especially when you start looking at places like 5, where you can move around a lot more. Aben territory sucks, because it's like a week-long trip everywhere you go. Let's see. The Anesian coast, this is going to be me sitting and waiting. Because a lot of, like, the coastal cities there are going to be bigger than normal. I'm going to have to edit up a lot of the cities on the coast because they're not going to be normal. They're going to be Anesian towns. These have had the most amount of development probably in the entire setting. These have actually had money put into them. As you kind of see, there's these vast road networks. It's pretty easy to move around the entirety of the coast. But you're dealing with Anesians. You're dealing with people who want to stab you in the back and steal your land. What do? You kind of see the situation there. It is just going to be a lot of sitting, a lot of waiting, and a lot of trying to make sure things work. Probably the territories that are going to be the most interesting, you're going to have Southern Tattaglan. Kind of like all the networked towns and cities over there, because you can kind of establish yourself as kind of a military presence if you want, because there's actually a castle down there, or you want to kind of move. Or you can do the Great Lakes. I would say on the Anesian coast, really anywhere in Anesia is kind of interesting. On the Anesian coast, I wouldn't say as much in the far west, but kind of like you have a lot more internal struggles and you can build up power quite actively. In the Northlands, kind of right along here. Not as much Abalan proper, but if you have a very certain campaign in mind, maybe Abalan important to you, maybe it won't. Here, the Great Lake region very much is the kind of like the center hot point. They're all going to give you different things. So, what does culture and production do? The idea is if your clan has +2 production, that means every wealth you get +2 wealth. Every piece of glory you have, depending on your culture, you're going to get +2 culture. The more production you have, the more wealth you get. So it's kind of like, where do we want to shift our clan's direction a little bit? But if you shift your clan in one direction, suddenly you're maybe lacking at another. The Eastern Coast clans do not have that strict militarism. They don't. They can make a lot of money. They're really good at, kind of getting others on board with them, but they're really not as good at, fighting. But what happens if a clan does invest a lot in fighting? What happens then? That's kind of the idea there. Which also gives me a little bit of time when it comes to retiring characters, but hey. To give you an idea, this is going to be incredibly autistic. Like, horrifically autistic. It is going to be hours of me sitting and waiting and sitting and wait and just typing shit out. Tangent. I remember a discussion we had about localizers and the like, and given I checked the manga both in Spanish and English, no so much disdain with those in the Anglosphere when it comes to when they don't interject a random tangent on current event. Like they also like to go into the current funny meme, as when I found a manga where they just wrote sus, which I don't know that is a common abbreviation in English, and what game made it too much of a meme or what. While in my native language, the translation. The big thing there, sus is not. Nobody uses sus in that way. If you say, oh, that's sus, you're being a weird TikTok. That is permanent internet brain rot of you associating sus with that. No one, abbreviates suspicious into sus unless you're making a meme about it. That's not really a thing. And I know what it is. It's probably Nagatoro. They got called out on that. Quite heavily, in fact. They're like, this isn't what they said. They like, you're being suspicious. You're being odd, but not sus. It's... Oh, that's even worse. See, that's funny. I remember it was Nagatoro got called out on that. That was like a big thing with that. So, let's see. Clan, depending on the nation from which the clan hails, the Clanhead, I should say, the Clanhead hails will influence the clan's ability, will influence the clan's attributes. This will not be modified. This will not be modified upon future clan heads. This will not be modified upon future clan heads, but upon the works and events that affect the clan proper. That affect the clan. So, the ABBA. We're going to get rid of this row. Hell, we don't even really need. We pretty much just need this. We can get rid of the rest. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go all the way back up. We're going to find this. So you are an Abban clan. You're a clansman. Hello, Abba. As an Abban clan. we can probably do as this. Aben are going to get, we'll say, authority and reputation. Ruar are going to get +1 production and reputation. Because that's how they operate. So Tadig. Tadig are going to get, let's say, culture and reputation. +1 culture and reputation. People like the Tadig, but they don't like them that one. You're going to get +1 production, +1 power and production. Actually, you're going to get authority. You're going to get authority and power. Delete table. Ura, 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 da, na, 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 na. 80 arc. You're going to get +1. We're going to say authority. You're going to get a little bit of authority and culture. The 80 arc are going to get power and reputation. Then we have the Sina and Nesians. We have the Sina and Nesians. Actually, just in a Nesian clan. The Sina are going to get culture and authority. We're going to say culture and power. The Nesians are going to get +2. Nesians are going to be a little bit special. They're going to get +2 authority. They can't leverage as much anymore, but they have a lot of power. They can just... The Nesians want to do one thing, and that's own you. Don't give a shit how. No, the Nesians do not believe in slavery, but all the Dine do. Morin Somi. The Morin have +2 culture, and the Somi have +2 power. Okay, so you already know how this is going to go. These are the national clans, and then we determine how things go from there. So, don't need. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to just start planning some stuff out. I feel like we kind of neglected this early on, so I want to just spend a little bit of time hammering out what needs to happen. So, what do we have so far? So we've explained so we have system basics, we have character creation, we have clan creation. So we're done with the basics. This is important. We are just done with the basics. It's going to be a lot of time to kind of fix up things, but it's really not going to be that complicated. Yeah, well, here's the thing, Drag. I kind of talked about this in the JTRPG video. Is the people who are in the entertainment translation, those people are not good translators. This is important to know. They are not good. They are not qualified. They are bargain basement. And everyone knows it's bargain. You know, it's the fucking bargain bin, bottom of the barrel translation services because they don't get paid a lot. At least here in the States, anyway. Like, if you want to, if you're a good translator, if you are really damn good at your job, you are probably going more into civic, you're going into business, more of the legal side of things, because if you fuck up in that regard, the thing is, if you fuck up in that regard, you go to jail for a long time. Or not even jail, but you lose a lot of influence, and people will fucking sue you. Hey, you fucked up this translation and we lost a multi-million-dollar deal because you fucked up and your company fucked up. We're gonna sue your company because you sabotaged this entire operation. Hey, you deliberately killed this deal and we lost a lot of money. Yeah. You suffer a lot of legal setbacks if you fuck up on that, but you don't fuck up on entertainment stuff. Localizers are failed writers with a passable comprehension of 2+ languages. Sometimes they don't even have a really good passable, comprehension. That's kind of the issue a lot of the times. Because if you notice, by the way, if you really notice, who's localizing things? What do you see get localized? Do you see Spanish stuff get localized for American audiences? No. Do you see European stuff get localized for American audiences? No, not really. You see Japanese stuff. You see usually Chinese and Asian stuff. It's laughs in Dragon Maid patriarchy clip. Yeah, it's people looking at things from a foreign lens and being like, well, obviously the Asians are wrong. And it's like, wait a second. Yeah, you would be amazed the amount of fucking racism I see in some of these people. Being like, well, they don't know what they're writing. Well, they're wrong. They never refer to them as, the person. No, of course not. They're the Japanese are wrong. Chinese are wrong. Not hey, the author kind of wrote this kind of weird. No, it's the entire culture is wrong. The entire thing is entirely wrong. They are the worst type. They're weebs who think they're weebs who have become disillusioned with it all. And it's very weird. I don't much care for translator. I've talked about this before when it comes to localization. There are very few circumstances of localization that is fine. To me, anyway. As I've said before, legal situations. Don't go to fucking jail over a translation. Being like, well, I'm going to go to fucking jail if I go, say this. Like in Germany, for example. In Germany, you cannot bring up the Nazis. That's a very illegal thing. Making sure they don't mention the Nazis would be fine. Don't go to jail over it, please. That's bad. You also get things in China when they have to localize things. I'm not going to blame the Chinese guys. You can, but yeah, in very specific media, you get what I mean, though. It's just don't go to jail if you know something's don't translate something that's gonna land you in jail. Hence why, Fate Stay Night, every single character is 18 years or older, even when they're in high school. It's kind of yeah, of course, every character depicted here is totally 18, even though they say they're freshmen in high school. She says she's in middle school, she's 18, officer, I swear. That's fine. I'm not gonna blame you for that. The other one is when you get hyper niche cultural things. If they talk about a very particular cultural festival in North Hokkaido and nobody understands what the fuck that is, except if you are A, Japanese, or B, that person, then they're probably gonna change it from this festival to the winter festival or the summer festival. That it's either you put in like a page-long TL note, or you change it to make it easier, especially if you're in a corporate setting when you're translating these things. You're not going to put a massive TL note about, here are the extreme specifics behind this. No, you're gonna change it to something that people are gonna understand a lot easier, which, if it gets across the same idea, then it's fine. That's kind of the idea. It's perfectly fine if it gets across the same idea or it flows with the narrative that it's telling. By being hyper-specific, if it is a very specific festival, and it's a very specific festival for these very specific reasons, then you're going to talk about it. Then you might have to, spend a moment referring to what it is. Maybe. If they don't do it, maybe put a note in the back. Which, again, that's one of those situations, as long as it keeps with the story. Autistic Japanese word puns. The autistic Japanese word puns are also very, very, I would say, are fine to somewhat localize. They play a game, every now and again you see in Japanime, they play the word game where they're trying to rhyme with each other. If you translate it literally, it makes no goddamn sense. Because they're just saying random words. But if you change it to be a word game and they're like recounting at one another, they're trying to rhyme with one another, and it's like, if it's not consequential, then it's fine. Or you change it to being like, hey, they were trying to make a joke. Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to do something like that, but again, as long as it doesn't interfere with the plot. The other thing was, the autistic Japanese word puns, very like hyper niche cultural things. Or legal issues. The only other thing that I could ever really see would be corporate mandated situations. Like, again, that kind of falls into the legal situation. Like, don't fucking lose your job over a translation. If people get mad at you about it, be like, hey, I was told to do this. Don't lose your job over it. Don't lose a fucking hustle. But it's like, why would they? Like, that's kind of the thing. Again, very hyper niche. If content came from, say, the Middle East, where the popular big enough to suffer the same localization problem. Well, that's the funny thing, Draco. It wouldn't, because no one would bring it over. That's the weird thing with Japanese works and a lot of Asian works in general, is people really want them, and we bring it over, and it's done by people who hold it in complete contempt. Because that's the funny thing. It's like a lot of the localizers hold it in complete contempt of what they're translating. They do not like it. They do not care for it. And when you ask them, okay, what do you want? And they don't have any response to it. That was like the weird thing I noticed. That's one of those things on Twitter. I'm going to talk about this because I can. One of those things I noticed on Twitter being like, man, I really wish anime would stop with beach arcs. I would like no more beach episodes, no more fan service, no more like certain romance plots. Things like, you get kind of the idea. They would like, I don't want any of this anime stuff anymore. And then when you ask them, oh, okay, so what's your favorite anime that doesn't do any of these things? Being like, oh, well, I don't really know any that don't do it. I'm like, what the fuck are you on about then? Watch Monster. Being like, have you watched Cowboy Bebop? Cowboy Bebop's pretty good. They're like, oh, no. And they just watch shonen shit. It's like, you stupid yeah, if you don't like these things, don't engage with it. The things that only do that. Man, I hate anime that's aimed at, teenage boys. Then why are you dealing with shonen? That's its one fucking thing. So the industry is full of people that dislike their job and actively sabotage it. Well, that's the funny thing. They actively dislike the content, but they like fucking with it. If that makes sense. They want it, but they dislike it, and they believe that they have the right to change it. It's no longer yours, it's mine. That's why it's like the big thing, like, never put your name on a translate, like, oh, well, I believe that localizers should, their name should be put on the credits of all these things. No, they shouldn't be. I put my name on TL work that I do for, like, the Dawang projects, because it's funny. And a lot of the Dawang projects, I usually say, by these person, you know, by these people, TL'd by me. Translated by me. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we translated this, we think it's a cool thing, but it's by this person. And people have gotten in trouble with it, you know, being like, hey, you actively changed my story. What the fuck? But yeah, McDrussel, you kind of nailed it on there. They're anime tourists. They could give... They are... How do I want to word it? There is an active hatred of anime. People hate anime. That's the funny thing, especially here in the West. They hate anime. Despise anime. And I always find that very strange, because when you ask them, okay, what do you like? Being like, well, I just like the community. I'm like, the fuck are you on about? Like, what? They're like, well, I like the way it looks. And it's just like, what's that mean? Like, oh, well, I like Attack on Titan. You mean the child soldier anime? Huh? Okay, I mean, like, that's cool. You like Attack on Titan. Why don't you look at things like Attack on Titan then? Well, I only watch the most popular things. Then it's always those things. It's like, I only watch the popular things. I only watch things that are, you know, there. Then I get... You know, it's just like, I enter this thread knowing I'll be mad at it. I'm like, why am I mad? Like, you entered this show. Do not enter the show called ooh woo my sister sobbing face emoji, and then be fucking amazed when it's ooh woo my little sister sobbing face emoji. Do not like, oh my god, I would have never fucking saw this coming. Jesus. Only watch stuff on Netflix. Ah! Oh fuck, have you seen the new I know there's the new I know there's the Castlevania Nocturne. Yeah, this one's been getting fucked. Yeah. This one's been getting real fucking reamed by people. Which you see here, it's like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. 7.8 there. 45% audience score. Yeah, it's... I keep looking at it like people fucking like, it's really interesting listening to the Nocturne discussion, because I didn't like the original Castlevania anime. I hated that. I thought it was fucking stupid. And I like Castlevania. I did not like the Castlevania that came out before, because I thought it was like every character acted like a 20-something from 2020. I'm like, this is not interesting. And it's like, oh, here's the cool Belmont. He's actually a loser. Death is a meme lord. Haha, look, it's funny. I'm like, this is going to be incredibly dated within like a year. And guess what? It was incredibly dated within a fucking year. Then like this one, I've seen clips and it's like, oh, it's the exact same shit. And it's like, oh, they've changed characters from Rondo of Blood to be black now. And it's not like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're talking about something interesting. No, it's literally a bunch of evil black vampires are being fucking evil, and it's up to our hero Richter Belmont to kill all the black people with his whip. That's all I've been getting from thing. I'm like, holy shit. Based in Sneedpilled? I'm like, yeah, I don't think they really thought that through. And then they have like a bunch of like characters they've decided to make. It's a very weird show, and I don't know why it exists, and I am very mystified by it. But I'm also the only person who says I really despise the old Castlevania anime, because I thought it was stupid. Okay, so let's get back to business. We've got our system basics. We've got what character creation looks like. We've got what clan creation is going to look like. So what do we have to do now? So if we want to do, we want to do, well, we're going to want a combat system. So, okay, we'll put in the combat system. We're going to have to do small and large scale. Actually, we'll do personal scale and warband scale. So we'll do personal and warband scale. So maybe I guess we can actually break it up into like the personal scale. We break it into the personal scale. Because I do talk about the scales of the 3 tiers of play. So I think if we break it down into the 3 tiers, we'll be fine. So we start with the personal scale. So we need to talk about combat. It doesn't really say there's going to be social combat system, so maybe we don't need to worry about that. But maybe we'll talk about and then we talk about advancement here. So we instead do we talk about the social situation. Hey, how are we interacting with others? We then talk about combat. We then talk about what travel looks like on a personal scale. Then we go into advancement. Then we do the clan scale. Clan scale, social. What is the social, aspects? We'll do kind of the management scale of the clan. It'll be mostly about resources. That's gonna be kind of the idea. You are managing your clan. What's going on in your clan with your immediate family? What's going on? How are we doing things? Characters who aren't necessarily being played at the moment, what's happening there? Then we're going to be dealing with interclan, clan politics. Clan politics into warband combat, a bit different, and then we leverage death and legacy. Then we do the domain scale. What's the domain scale going to look about? What are holdings? What is the domain? A little bit broader here. What are our holdings looking like? Our domain. Actually, we'll do what are holdings? Improving holdings. Warfare. Fiefs and vassals, large-scale warfare. Kind of a lot more broad. That's kind of the idea. A lot more broad tier of warfare. Warband combat is you are going to be on the field. Kind of individual combat. I have a sword, you have a sword, we're going to fight. Ding, 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 we're back and forth. I've stabbed you, you stabbed me, I'm on the ground bleeding to death, you're not. Ow. Then we're going to go into squad-based combat, kind of the warband combat. I am leading a unit of militia. There are 50 of us. You are leading 20 axemen, 20 higher tier units. What's going on now? How do we maneuver around? How are we doing things? This is going to be kind of where the meat and potatoes are of bigger scale combat. Okay, easy enough to do. Large scale is we are sending an army to this location. We have 500 men. We have 500 men, 200 of this. We're gonna lay siege to this place. However, our other army is going to be moving in a different direction. We are going to protect the flank of the sieging force. That is our goal. That's how we're going to handle things. Alright, easy enough to understand. Which we're going to have to probably do, like, maybe we have to put in turns. Like, everything is measured in, like... No, we don't need to do that. Because every day would be like, you can clearly see someone within, like, a day's walk. So yeah, it would be like, we're just going to intersect on this location. Fiefs and vassals is going to be, you own a bunch of territory, you want to own more territory, you are going to you're going to give things to other people. Hey, this is a clan that we like, we appreciate these people, you're going to be my vassal now, and I am giving you territory, I'm giving you holdings. In exchange, you're just going to give us a lump sum. That's all you're going to do. That's all a vassal's going to do at the end of the day. Instead of us managing individual holdings, you're just going to give us a lump sum of this, but a percentage of it. We do not need to handle all of this other bullshit. All we need to do is handle this thing. We have to handle our own thing. While, with vassals, you can manage more territory, you can manage more things, but you have to deal with them. Yeah. So far, he didn't say anything about social combat rules, so I'm probably not going to put it in directly. I might put in a system of intrigues, though. That for the personal scale, I might put in a system of intrigues. Might be a cut down version of the way that I've done it in BCS, but just to keep things very, very to the point, very simple. Here it is. It's done. Don't got to think about it anymore. Can't you just rip off any of the other system because you have quite a lot? Yeah, I probably can, but what it's going to be is going to be social encounters are, if you want to convince someone to do something, it's going to be, you need to either negotiate and just role play with them and like, hey, what's going on? Or it's going to be kind of it's going to be an extended check, effectively. You're going to have to do an extended check over a few days or maybe a few hours to try to do this, but you can lower it. You can lower the number of successes needed by virtue of doing something. Hey, this guy, if you give him money, if you give him wealth, he's going to want to negotiate with you. I want to do that a little. I think if we do this, this should be everything we need. So effectively, the personal scale is going to be all about people. With my character, how do I advance? With my character, how do I negotiate with others? How do I get into fights? What does travel look like? How do I actually get better? Actually, we should do aging and advancement. Okay. I feel like I'm missing something. No. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Clansman's Tale. During the Clansman's Tale. Clanhead's lowest tier of play is the most personal. Clanhead's lowest tier of play is the most personal. The Clansman's personal tier. The personal tier. The personal story of the Clansmen and their family. A personal story. During this scale of play, the player takes the Clansman. The Clansman will engage in a plethora of, will engage in a variety of problems associated with the current situation before them. Rivals may be making moves. Rivals may be making moves. A situation presents itself. Or disaster has struck the clan, and they are the only ones able to solve it. During this, this is the foundational scale of play. The PL and their clansmen, the players in the clansmen, the clansmen will band together to attempt to solve a crisis before them. By blade quill, or a knife in the back. Okay, all the way down here. This is going to be heading 1, Clansman's Tale. Then we're going to immediately open up with social engagement. Actually, we'll give it a swarthy name. Honeyed words and velvet knives. Oh, a very pretentious name, but it works. Kingdom scale. Kingdom scale is going to be kind of the domain scale. Like, you've pulled way far back. I think the best way to think about it is if you are managing from the personal scale, you're looking straight through the character's eyes. You're just interacting as them. This is the foundational level of play. Clan tier is you're kind of pulling it out a little bit. You're seeing the whole family now, and the group is now kind of talking about how the family is developing, where they want to go with things, and different branches of the family as well. It's like, hey, I have X amount of kids. What's going on here? Hey, I am like, hey, I'm not gonna live. I'm fucking 37. I'm like 45, and I've got a fucking debilitating wound. Can you please help me? I'm bleeding to death. Oh no. That's gonna be a lot different than the domain scale, where we pull out further, and you're just effectively a dot on the map. That's kind of the thing. You're a dot on the map, and how do you deal with that? Ow. Yeah. Honeyed words and velvet knives. Intrigue is no intrigue. Intrigue is no stranger to Callis. From the most secluded manor houses of the Anesians to the various clan houses of the Dina. Honeyed words, the right words, the right words, past messages. Let's see, the right words, past messages, and even a secretive gift. Even a secretive gift can all have double meanings. Can all have double meanings and intents behind them. An intrigue is launched when the clansmen are attempting to sway opinions and shift the balance of power. Without drawing a weapon. At its core, an intrigue is an extended check. At its core, an intrigue is an extended check with a time limit. With a time limit as well as an opposition. With a time limit, possibly an opposing force. The clansmen involved with the intrigue will need to announce their intention with the focus of their plot, as well as plan out how they will accomplish such a feat. So How they will accomplish such a feat. We're gonna make a intrigue. We're gonna make an intrigue intrigue example. The hand of the domina. The hand of the domina. Latin names generator. Latin name generator. Give me some Latin names. Avita. Avita Acilius. A young woman at 19. A young woman at 19 has inherited her brother's estate, or her brother's estates, after his unfortunate accident. After his death by an accidental knife. After an accidental knife in the gut. She is not married yet due to his overprotective nature. But without issue, her clan has pressured her into choosing a partner. Our clan has put forward young Saturio. While he may only be 15, we'll say 17, he has proven himself as a capable warrior and unmarried and uninterested in women. Has proved himself as a capable warrior and proved himself as a capable warrior. An intrigue has been launched by the clan, by the clansmen to secure Saturio's favor, Vita's favor for Saturia. Let's see. An intrigue has been launched by the clansmen to secure Vita's favor for Saturio, but their rivals. The Callis are doing the same for their own scion Gideon. Robertus. Their own scion Scipio. The bard sets the difficulty at 40. At 50 sets the difficulty at 50. With the intervals of days, namely a week's party. A week's party of Vita has hosted due to her for eligible bachelors. They have a lot of while Saturio will work his charm. The others must plan ahead. Must plan. Must the others plot. Yep, a very simple idea. The Hand of the Domina, Part 1. Hand of the Domina, Part 1. So, we understand what's going on. Difficulty 50 over intervals of days, namely a week's party. So you've got 7 days, effectively 7 days to hit target number 50. You need 50 successes. This is going to be incredibly difficult, if not outright impossible. This is where intrigues come. This is where the rest of the kind of the meat comes in. So, we'll do the direct approach. The direct intrigues can be approached directly as with any extended check. A clansman takes the time interval and makes a check. Makes a check with the intent of adding successes to the final result. These intrigues do not necessarily. However, these don't always need to be directly related. However, these don't always need to be directly related to what's occurring. For example, convincing what's occurring. Any of the clansmen may make a check as long as it's contributing to the as long as it's direct. Need to be related to the overall plot, to the immediate goal. Any of the clansmen make a check as long as it's directly related, to the end goal, and the bard agrees. It will play a part in assisting the goal. Saturio and the group and the clan arrives to the fabulous party. Immediately he approaches Evita and begins to work his charming nature. Rolling 2d6 for his social, and 1d6 for his decorum. Rolling 2d6 for his social and 1d6 for his decorum. Luckily he manages to hit 2 successes. Luckily he manages to hit 2 successes. But Evita is charmed, but soon is swayed by Scipio. Rolling 8d6. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna roll 8d6 for Scipio. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 successes for Scipio. Rolling 8d6 and nabbing 4 success and managing 4 successes. And some Scipio rolling 8d6 and nabbing 4 successes. Directed. Saturio may be a hero in the making, but rarely will. But his charm is most. But his charisma is drinking pals rather than noble ladies. Noble ladies. This does prompt his uncle. His uncle. Let's do male names. Nope. Gaelic names. We need Latin names. We need Pelio. It says Lee to prompt his uncle Pelio to make a to roll a let's see, what would we need to roll a social plus esoterica check. Social plus actually circles check with 7d6. 1, 2, 3, 4. With four additional successes. He finds Vita's family members and begins chatting with them. Learning about Vita's likes, dislikes, and even her preliminary interests. That's kind of the idea. It's just like, you can immediately approach this. There's nothing saying you cannot just say, fuck you, got mine. I'm going to just brute force this. Or you can start going around a little bit. Yakit names, Notepad is a Yakubian. 8-1. I honestly expected 8 1s. He rolled 3 1s to give you an idea there on that 8d6. So I'm like, this motherfucker is not going to fuck all of this up. Like, you fucking baboon. Don't do this to me. You baboon. This brute force. Actually, we'll do this brute force approach. This brute force approach. Approach is ideal when the situation demands it, or there is no other recourse for the clan to undertake. But this does allow them to find out what the goals of the various actors in this plot are like. It's kind of the idea, like, this is the brute force, like, we just need to reduce the number. How do we do this? You're going to be doing it by this way. I want to learn as much about you as possible. So, which leads to a more subtle manner, a more subtle method, for those less inclined for the direct approach. The clan may opt to find methods to directly reduce the difficulty of the extended check itself. Well, let's see. May opt to find methods to reduce the difficulty of the extended check itself. These opportunities. Let's see. These opportunities directly reduce the total number of successes needed. Let's see. These opportunities reduce the total number of successes needed for a successful intrigue. However, they may require the clan to set up events or make their own checks to facilitate their plotting. Facilitate their plotting. Each of these events will chip away at the difficulty of the entire check, depending on the severity of the event. Depending on the severity of the event, they will the bard will reduce, possibly increase the difficulty, or possibly increase the difficulty of the extended check entirely. So we do this. We're going to insert. There's going to be 5. We'll say there's going to be 5 tiers. We'll do event severity, amount difficulty reduction. Do minor, major, actually no. We're gonna do small events, a medium, large, massive event happens. -10, -20, -30, -40. Actually, here's what we can do. We can do -10, -2d6, -4d6, -6d6, -10d6. The average of 10d6 would be, if we do 3.5 times 10, $35, so we're looking at about 35. $66 would be 3.5 times that, so that would be 20. I think it'd be. I might be retarded. 21. Yeah, no, I'm actually just retarded. 21. This would be, if we didn't do it by 3.5 plus 3.5, that would be 14, and then this would be 7. Mm. Mm. Use whichever kind of facilitates things. Like, you can get some pretty extreme reductions. So fucking funny. Ah, yes, pool 16 dice. Let me just roll 8 2s, 4 3s, and 4 1s. You would actually botch, which is something I need to address, actually. So thank you for reminding me that of Spartan. If you completely fail, like you roll no successes, you're going to botch. You can only botch a certain number of times before the entire thing goes tits up, which is what we're going to have to address, being like, yeah, what if you completely fuck up an intrigue, then everything goes wrong? So what would be a nice small event? What would be a small event? Convenient assistance. I just happen to be here. Man, how so wacky, isn't it? That I just happen to be here. It's a convenient piece of assistance. Oh, isn't it so weird, my lord, that I just happen to be here when you need help finding something? I just happen to find this that you might want. It's convenient. Sneaking in a gift, convenient assistance, kind of like a bigger event. Defending, defending their honor, a large event, saving the person, learning detailed information. Hey, we know they're planning to do this, so we're going to leverage that information a little bit more. Hey, our lord really, like, our lord is expecting a fucking kid. He needs money all of a sudden. There's like this fucking scullery maid who we know, like, we're gonna fucking leverage that against him. And we're gonna gaslight our friend. Getting like a bunch of text messages all of a sudden, that's always... I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. The bard, yeah, the bard is the GM. Why do you call it a bard, Lamau? Because in Gaelic history, because in the context of Gaelic mythology and things, a bard was not only a storyteller, but a bard was a retelling of history. You didn't refer to any story would be told by a bard. Any religious experience would most likely be called, yeah, would be brought into it. It's so odd this is Gaelic. Yeah. It's inspired by, they're not Mongol Turks. Well, the thing is, it's Gaelic, and funnily enough, if I had it my way, I would make this full on just like Roman Britain. That, like, honest to God, I would just make this entirely Roman Britain. And that's what it is. the Picts and the Gaelics were up there. They were in northern, no, kind of like northern, hey, I guess Scotland. They were still there. The British never conquered them their entire time of occupying Britain. Well, you didn't make Hiberno Normans. I thought about putting that, but like, one of the issues is, I guess you can kind of call the Somi a little bit Norman. Like, kind of like one of the issues, like, I realized, like, I didn't have, like, any other cultures outside of this very specific grouping, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna bring in the Mongolo-Turks. Like, Mongolo-Turkish, fucking Normans. They're gonna show up. That's why they're here. This name Sumi sounded like Finnish. Yeah, that was kind of the reason, too. They're supposed to sound kind of Finnish. They're very Finnish, very Anglo-Saxon inspired. With just, and their entire idea is like, hey, we're kind of weird. All of the cultures are a little bit funky. The Goths, because of Beowulf. Well, you don't understand, Draco. It's the Morin. The Morin are the Goths. Don't think about it too hard. Shame about the Irish. Trust me, there's a lot of the original name for the island of Callis was actually going to be Hibernia, otherwise known as the Irish, the way they call the Irish. If you want to be really specific, the Tadig are based very much off the Irish. They're based off Irish gypsies. You got a little bit of Welsh in there. It's pretty much like all the cultures of the Dine are Scot Gaelic, Welsh, or Irish Gaelic. Those are the big three inspirations there. They're all a little bit funky. So there's like 4 Celtic related cultures. There are 7 cultures of the Dine. I try to make them all very different from one another though, by just geography, by situation, by the way they approach things. But then you have like these 3 cultures that are just fucking weird, who are completely out of place, but that's kind of the purpose, is like, hey, we are, we're kind of this Gaelic culture. We don't really like one another, but we're all kind of different. We don't like one another at all. But then we have I can't believe they're not fucking Romans. The fucking scary Finnish men who want to violate us, who we kind of respect. Because they're kind of like us, and they have similar stories to us. Kind of bringing in that kind of like, oh hey, they literally have a Beowulf myth that's eerily like us. And then you have the Morin. The Morin brought God. That's their entire funny thing with them, is they're bringing in God. They and people are 100% on the big J, on the big G himself. He has shown up, and they're just like, yeah, inshallah, they're just there. The way of life. That's all it's called. Just, you are part of the way of life. What's this all about? We're all fucking equal. There are no gods, there are no kings, there are no emperors. We are all equal in the eyes of God. And everyone's like, what do you mean we're all equal in the eyes of God? Being like, we don't have divine right to rule. Down here, we're very selfish. All we can do is try to be pious people, try to be good people, and we get to go to heaven. And heaven's equal for all of us. And they're like, oh, so I don't have to try to like live up to this weird heroism culture. I don't have to be like the Anesians and just be egoists. No, I just have to be a good person and I get rewarded at the end of my life. Wow. And everyone's like, wow. But where does the fish cult come into things? Quite literally, the Damned are supposed to be, they're weird. They were always different. That's kind of the thing. They live on the coast. They believe in a weird fish god. And that's just, they believe, no one else really on the island believes in gods. They believe in kind of this hero cult, you know, their ancestors and stuff, but not really strictly gods. The Daemon are specifically, we believe in the Leviathan. You know, he who owns the ocean and protects our island. We believe in him. And everyone is weirded out by the Daemon. Everyone is. And that's kind of the, like, reoccurring theme with them, is like, oh fuck. Which, of course, I didn't put them next to the Somi, because the Somi are going to be fun. And the Somi are kind of like, oh, well, we kind of get you, and we kind of understand it. Oh, no. I put them next to the people who invented God. We put the fish god people next to the capital G god people. And welcome to conflict, baby. Hold on, ancestor worship, imperial ego worship. Yeah, it's the Anesians are complete egoists. If you were to ask an Anesian what happens after death and being like, you fucking die, that's what happens. You die. You don't get back up. You're dead. It doesn't matter. Nothing happens after death, except, this is the big thing for them, except if you are remembered. If you are remembered, you will live forever. So you better be the absolute best you physically can be at all times. If you are not remembered, you do not matter. Hence, one of the big things is, hey, and that's gonna be kind of like, I'm gonna have to put on like weird lore bits that I couldn't put anywhere else. It's gonna be like, oh, what's one of the greatest punishments Anesians could have? One of the greatest punishments Anesians could have is, not only perverting your name throughout history, but just diluting it. Hey, you've committed a horrible crime. You have done a horrible thing. We are not only going to strike you from the records, we're going to give prisoners time off their sentence to change their name to yours. Because if we do that, people aren't remembering you, they're remembering all the fucking criminals now, and all their records are going to show you in inopportune places, but it's not going to be you. You're going to be forgotten across all time and space, because we hate you that much. Like, uh-oh. I also, again, I made it a point with the Anesians to be, the Anesians do not practice slavery, because the Anesians don't believe in slavery. But I'm also going to put in a note is, they have a really weird thing with debts. That's just going to be a note I put in for the Anesians, is like, they have a very weird thing with debt. I can't own you as a person, but I can own your life as a debt, because you swore a life debt to me. It's like, hey, you are, you know, I saved your life, you have sworn a life debt to me. Your life is mine. I can get rid of you at any time. I can say, hey, this is I'm letting you go of your debt. Your debt is paid. You're a good friend of mine. I care about you a lot. Get out of here. Leave. Effectively, marriage in Anesian society is swearing an oath to one another. You know, it's a legal oath saying, hey, we are fundamentally, till death do us part, is our part of the legal code. And if someone does fuck up, and so, like, if you want a divorce, you need consent from both parties for the divorce to legally null the agreement. It's very weird and shit like that. And that's kind of what I wanted them to be like, is that the Anesians are very... You know exactly how they act, but they also are incredibly strange. And I want them to be antagonistic, but you can still play them and still have fun with them. Probably, though, my... out of all the writing, my favorite are just the Tadig. Hence why I am the Tadig Bard. Because Tadig, I just made them to be funny. They're just everywhere. Everyone's a Tadig, and everyone wants to be a Tadig, and everyone knows them because they're just people who wander. They go a roving when they get adult age. They just fuck around the entire island. They're a little bit of everywhere. But funny, that's their entire thing is that people are like, what the fuck? Go away, you weird gypsies. They're like, no, I don't want to. Let me think. The Abans are, fuck you, got mine, leave me alone. The Ura are too busy mining. They've dug too deep and are digging too greedily. The Ruar are fanatic, fuck you, are fanatically egalitarian. Yeah, quit going through my fucking garbage. Yeah, it's like, hey, you're have no fear. I'm a Tadig Bod. I'm here to tell the story of my people and your people as well. Putting on his little fucking mandolin and being just like, you're a homeless person in our village. Go away, please. We've heard all your stupid songs. Go away. The only one I haven't really talked about at all are the Sina. Because the Sina's entire gimmick is very simple. The Sina are a weird cult, and no one likes the Sina. Spooky. Oh, you worship the crazy witch from the story of our creation story that literally doesn't have a name. Yeah, you worship her because you're a bunch of weird druid nightmare creatures that nobody likes and we're all scared of. Please go away. You're frightening the children. Yeah, like that's how I wanted to give it, like, there's enough between each of them to be goofy and that you can get an idea of how to play them, but not enough for it's like, oh wait, this is the third time you told us about Balguff the Lion today. Fuck you, go away. Yeah, you're understanding the Tadig lifestyle. It's like, hello, I'm here. And you're like, go away, please. We don't want you here. Are you sure? Yes. While the two, no, that's ancient Roman names. Give me some Roman names. We'll go down here. Tulia. Well, the two. Saturia's older sister, Tulia. Tulia has slinked off to the from the direct party. To wander the estate and see what she can get into. What she discovers is the mutual plotting of Avita's family members to ask for funding to ask for the potential groom to of course to pay for most of their expenses. Tulia rightfully takes this news to her darling cousin. Oh, I'm getting pinged. Who's pinging me? Why are you here? Are you here just to suffer? Call me Julius Squeakers. Her darling cousin Livia takes this news to her darling cousin Livia, who is far less restrained with some dedicated role playing, various insults toward active seduction of one of the uncles. With some dedicated role playing, active seduction of one of the uncles. Tulia, Livia drops the information that night upon a Vita. Rightfully annoyed at her family. She has seen favor to the clan for being honest with her. Of being honest with her, as well as Tulia offering assistance, as well as Tulia talking up Saturio. Saturio's great future. Saturio's own masculine, charming, own heroic nature. Julia talking up Saturio's own heroic nature, and how he would obviously rectify this immediately. They reduce the difficulty by a large amount. We're gonna roll 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see how much they actually reduce it by. Dog shit. That's how. We've got 6, 9, 13, 17, 19, so a little under average. And they reduce the difficulty by a whole 19 points. I just want to make sure this is correct. 50 minus 19, minus they scored 6 successes, minus 6. They have 25 successes to go. Only 25 successes to go, and it's only the first night. Yes, Tulia and yeah, so it's like, even if you aren't like playing a directly fighty character, you can still get into things. Like, yeah, get into a fight with people, be a bitch, be a horrible human being, and just get into shit. That's the fun part. Role playing is getting into it with other people. Sneaky and get convenient assistance, kind of lart, saving the person, finding critical information, dealing with foes. Damn, so we got that. We're gonna do one final part here. We're gonna try to finish this section. Running interference. Not every intrigue will be two parties competing for a yes or no answer. Often others will get involved trying to find their own mutual outcome of the event. sometimes being exclusive to the end goals of the other. A clansman can choose to run interference. Can choose to run interference on the activities. Clansman can choose to run interference on these activities, while compromising. While compromising, it may be the only way. It may be the only way to direct while compromising, it may be the only way to assist the group. To assist the plot going forward. To assist the plot. Being directly opposing directly opposing another party. The party may open the clan may open the clan up to retaliation later. So perhaps being more subtle about things may be the ideal outcome. It may be the ideal outcome. Whenever a clansman attempts this feat, they will take. Whenever a clansman attempts this feat, they will make a standard check. But instead of contributing dice to, instead of contributing successes to the extended check, they will reduce the number of successes. They will reduce the number of successes their rivals have accumulated. Have accumulated. They may even with extreme fortune or situation, even be able to roll a number of d6s. They may be able to roll a event severity to reduce their successes instead. Always be plotting. So it's kind of the idea of like, hey, you can run interference on someone. Scipio is being a dick. How do we do this? So we've got 4 members already. We're going to bring in one last member. Marius is an old family friend and teacher to young Saturio. Late that night, drinking wine on the balcony. He spots Scipio. He spots Scipio slinking around the estate. No doubt trying to find a Vita for a midnight conversation. being less sociable, sociable and more, being less sociable and more swarthy. Marius stalks the young man. And makes in. How do we want to? What would he be making a roll of? What would Marius's thing be? He's going to try to gaslight someone. Oh, I know. He's going to make makes a cunning plus roguery check. Cunning plus roguery check to accidentally spill. Actually, it'll get plus adroitness. To accidentally spill spill most of his glass of wine upon the young scion, Scipio. We're just gonna roll. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes. Netting 4 successes. He manages to drop enough to hinder his efforts for the night. Hinders his efforts for the night. While keeping himself free of any guilt. Though Scipio looks quite angered. Dear Scipio, like, I am going to just dump wine on you to be a dick. Oh, you just dumped wine on an asshole, being like, haha, I've defeated you. You won't be able to get that many successes tonight because I've rolled really well. Please don't. Please stop seducing her. Our dumbass needs this. Aw, dumbass needs this. You don't. Success, failure, and botching. Depending on the efforts of the group, the intrigue plot will be either a success, failure, or complete botch. Success is when within the time limit. The group has reduced the difficulty, has reached the difficulty by has reached the difficulty. The plot is successful. The target will agree, capitulate, or change their opinion. A lot of the target will agree, capitulate, or change their opinion on the matter without having to worry. Opinion on the matter. Intrigues can never truly change the nature. Change the nature of a person. Intrigues can never truly change the nature of a person. However, they will act according to their ends. But a successful plot will always. They will always act according to their end, but a successful plot will always end in the ideal state as laid out by the clan. Failure though is in two situations. Either the clan has run out of time and will need to wait for another opportunity. Let's see, the clan has run out of time and will need to wait for another opportunity. Often by an event ending, or an event. Wait for another opportunity, or they have. Or they have been defeated by a rival. This is not a complete. While they may not have reached their end goal, they have remained. In whatever good graces they've managed to keep. They've remained in whatever good graces they managed to keep. Botching an intrigue. Often through rolling no successes with the direct approach. Often through rolling no successes with the direct approach will lead to the entire plot unraveling in a disastrous fashion. Secrets are revealed. People change course drastically, and enemies who may not have succeeded themselves may eke out a victory from the jaws of defeat. There we go. That's kind of the idea. It's like, hey, if you completely fail, like if something really bad happens, you botch a bunch of things, the worst possible outcome has occurred. Someone has stolen away your victory. You are in a bad space. How do you handle this? After 5 days of whining, dining, and arguing, the clan has Saturio, good Saturio. Saturio has managed to be within one success of emerging victorious. But his rival Scipio has been hard at work himself. Both have been. Oh god. Both have been plotting. Both have been plotting and moving against one another. Over the past few days. But the final call is coming up. It's do or fail. It's do or die. After a lovely Saturio approaches Saturio congratulates Avita for her efforts as Domina. As a Domina, putting all his heart and soul into this praise, resulting in only 2 successes. The clan cringes as he rolls poorly. Resigns themselves to a failure, but a hard-fought one. However, brave Scipio attempts the same result, within only a few points himself. He makes a similarly impassioned speech. But botches the role entirely. With a previous incident involving one of her family members, Scipio has completely shattered his chances at the finish line. Chances right at the finish line. Marius taking the chance to call him out, taking the chance to let's see, actually no, it'd be Olivia taking seizing the chance, calls out Scipio for his poor performance and behavior over the entire event, scoring the final success needed for the group to emerge victorious. Saturio may not be the most well spoken of men, but he does now have a betrothed who is far more. But he does now have a betrothed who is willing to play the diplomatic game more than him. There you go. Congratulations. That's there we go. Congratulations, Hand of the Domina Part 5. We've learned how to make an intrigue. Brave Scipio. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. It's, hey, you need to make you're fighting against kind of other targets, you're trying to find advantages, you're trying to play against one another, you're trying to fight against other characters that are working against you. It's this endless push and pull that even like, oh, target number 50 may seem like a lot, but it really isn't, because you just have to find things to enable that success. How do we in this very simple situation find our success? You got to fight someone. Or maybe you just pull off the assassination of a lifetime and end up with someone dead. Think smart, not hard. Okay, so that should be intrigue. I think that keeps it pretty reliable. So, okay, so Wednesday, pretty much tomorrow after the video, I don't think the video is going to be very long, we're just doing a detox. I am going to pretty much spend the entire day just typing in all the locations. It's just going to take time. That's it. It's just going to take a lot of time, and I'm just going to have to find literally about 100 different names for locations and just write them in. Not going to be fun, it's not going to be entertaining, it's just going to be a lot of work. So, I'm going to call it there. Thank you all. Godspeed, good luck. I'll see you all on Wednesday, most likely. And we will continue working on things. Generally speaking, on Friday, the goal is to get combat and travel done. Ideally, we can get combat, travel, and aging done all at once. We can just get the entire personal scale done. If we go on to that kind of scale of things, we might be able to get it done by mid-October. It kind of depends on how kind of the pace is. I was like, I'm gonna do this in 2 weeks. It might be 3 because of the absolute scale of things I need to do, but it happens. So thank you all. Godspeed, good luck, you know the rest.